Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started. Give folks a few minutes to come on in. My success is inevitable. Let me see. Something is blinding me and you. Okay, that's better. Okay. I will win. My success is inevitable. 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 I will win. My success. Come on in the room. Share. Come on in. We're going to get started. This is when you know it's time for you to shift. Thank you so much for letting me know that I am live and it is working. But this is when it's time to shift a little bit. So we're going to talk about the prosperity of purpose today, like I promised, but I will not be long because I really want to know how you all are doing. So if you don't mind sharing this out. Okay, here we go. Okay, greetings. And so I know if sometimes Facebook doesn't show me the numbers and that type of thing, but so we're going to just go on and get started. I want to just know, for those of you who can see me and are in the comments, I just want to ask you how you're doing. Even if you see this video later, and those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'm LaTanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, and Passion. And this has been traditionally our Womanhood Wisdom Wednesdays, which has transformed several times as we continue to really create a space of continual ministry for those who are transforming, those who are nurturing themselves on the journey after they've awakened or rebirth themselves, because rebirth is not a one-time event. I can't emphasize that enough. Rebirth is not a one-time event. So this ministry space for women is a space for you to continue to nourish and nurture yourself, so that the fast forward happens from an organic place versus trying to push it, versus trying to compare yourself to someone else. This is a space where quantum leaps absolutely happen, because it works when you work it and not before. Not before. And I just want to say that a lot of times we need to start at the level of belief, because many of us have been conditioned to be believers. And so we believed our parents, we believed in Santa Claus, we believed in Easter, we believed in all of the fairy tales of children. And then once you started to realize that there was someone really behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, when you followed your yellow brick road and you are doing everything along the way, collecting the tokens that they tell you to collect. Go to school, get good grades, go to church so that you can be in relationship to God. Whatever the tokens are, you've collected the tokens. Well, every person on the yellow brick road had to collect their unique token, whatever that was for them. And, the lion needed a heart. The Tin Man needed an oil. But all of those are aspects of our own self, particularly in a space like Rebirth Woman, and the spaces that I intend to create of any workshops that you do, any master classes that you do. And so we are continuing our conversation from a happy pocket full of money. Now, I know that because we haven't been sending out announcements and that type of thing, the algorithm in Facebook has already severely changed. And I am the reason why you have the link to the Rebirth exclusive community and to other places that I invite you to is so that I can communicate with you, and particularly those who want to continue communication and those who want access where we're doing more quality work, having more sustainable conversations during this time. I see your question, Dana. No, it's the same shirt. The lighting is really different and really tripping over here because in one camera I look one color and in another camera I look another color. So I'm not going to change anything today though with the camera. It is what it is. But if I had a new Juicy shirt, I would definitely be letting the Juicy Butterflies know. So if you can tag a few sisters in this comment, in this video, because I really am asking, how are you doing? Like, for real. And from all of the reports and then the messages that I'm getting, this is truly a season that I have been saying before to tribe up. This is the season to tribe up. Somebody just put tribe up in the comments. Tribe up. And even amongst us, there may be those of you who have made decisions and they are yours to make. I know for me personally, I respect anyone else's decision that they had to make for their body, for their health. But when we make uninformed decisions and decisions based in fear, we find ourselves still in the sector of belief and on the yellow brick road. The good news about the yellow brick road is coming home to yourself. And so when we talk about happy pocket full of money, I want to just lay a little bit of a foundation, because one of the things that the author says after he tells you how to move through the book is he says quantum physics is the first step in an amazing awakening that you are about to undergo. If you've worked with me, then you know already that you have in some way encountered quantum physics speaking, quantum physics tools, quantum physics activities, and in a practical way that applies to your life. So some of you who may have come in and done the work and hit a wall and gone back to your comfort zone, come in, do the work, and have a bit more of an awakening, but go back to your comfort zone because you hit something that bumps up against your yellow brick road, that bumps up against your belief system, then it's okay, because as long as you know you are your own delay in a full awakening and the full manifestation, because this is a place of responsibility in this particular space. And everybody does not go to that next level, but you can. But for anybody that's in this space, you've had some awakening, whether you've heard me at an event, there was something I said that pricked your consciousness. If there was something, a friend invited you to this space, that is the womanly activism of, let me go get my sister and bring her with me. No woman left behind. If you're in this space, you may have done something a little bit in the same, maybe not with me, but on a similar journey, in another work. Every person in this space, under the sound of my voice, is not here by accident. And so I tend to talk to you from this space of quantum physics, using scripture to show you where scripture is referencing a higher level of law, because the scriptures are codified. The scriptures are symbolic. the scriptures are several levels, it context and understanding the context of who was speaking and who they were speaking to. But how does the codes now apply to your life? And so the first thing that when we step into quantum physics is the awakening that we have. If you are listening, I want to ask you in terms of participation, so it's not just me talking. And I will put the link in the comments section so that you can come in if you want to join in on this conversation, because some of you I haven't seen, and I do want to know how you're doing, and I want this to land in your spirit. If nobody comes on live or puts anything in the comments, then I'll just keep going. But I'm posting the link in the comments. I think the last time somebody said they can't see it when I post it. So if you see it, let me know if you see the link there. But let me keep going. Quantum physics is the first step in an amazing awakening that you are about to undergo. How many of you already had an awakening? If you think of you had an awakening, what was it? Was it religion? Was it your marriage coming to an end? Or was it thank you, Dana. Was it your something that happened with your children or in your family? What is the awakening? So when you're studying, don't just run past that. And I want you to put in the comments, because somebody else may be where you were 2 years ago. So put it in the comments for them. What was the point, the turning point of your awakening? So he goes on to say, not only will you understand that the very construction of all that you see around you, you will also understand exactly how your belief and thinking creates matter. You are the creator of matter. Everything we see, it is a reflection of what's going on in humanity. Let me continue. Let me not teach. How you reap what you sow, how even before you ask it, it has been given unto you. This is what this book, what this study allows you to see and allow you to get. So I see some answers in here. The awakening for you was when your marriage was ending, and that was your turning point. Got it. Okay. Anybody else? When did you have an awakening? I often tell my story, so let me tell my story again. My awakening, my husband asked me about my awakening the other day, and he asked me to drill deeper into the way he asked me. And I just remember the first, because there's levels to awakening. The first prick in my consciousness was after high school one day when Phil Donahue, anybody remember the Phil Donahue show? Phil Donahue had Father or Bishop at that time. I don't know if he was Bishop. I think he was Father Stalling, a Black priest who was outspoken. And he said that the identity of Jesus was Black, and he laid the foundation why, and how the Catholic Church had hid certain things. And everything in my DNA woke up and said, yes, yes. Oh my God. Like it was literally more of a confirmation. And I was so lit up. My grid was so lit up by the truth being spoken. So that was my first awakening, but I was in high school. Good. Y'all remember Phil Donahue. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So that was it. But I recognized I wasn't around anybody who was continuing that dialogue. So what that did was woke up the seeker inside of me. Even after that, I think I questioned everything that was different from what I had been introduced to. So I think I met a Buddhist monk on the way to for the summer, to come live in DC for the summer. I met a Buddhist monk, and she was my age, Black girl. She was cool. In fact, she was a little older than me. And it was something about her telling me that she was a Buddhist that what's that, you know? And Then I got a chance to hang out with her. She showed me her altar. She showed me chanting. And I went back with myself, my crazy little self, honey, not knowing that you don't go around your family all the time telling them about something new and different. I remember going back to in Washington, D.C., honey, over in Northeast D.C., coming back from the trip chanting, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo. Oh, listen, I didn't even know fully. I knew that it had power, but I was young. I was not even, I don't think I was a junior in high school. I don't know. But what that did was it made my family think I was strange. But there was something in me always awakened and confirmed and seeking something different. So I got one. Keela says, I've had several awakenings. My marriage ending was one. My best friend passing was another. I am so glad that you told that truth, because sometimes when we have a death, it can be an awakening because it makes you ask deeper questions. It makes you revisit your purpose. I'm still getting to the prosperity of purpose. It still makes you say, am I living my best life? Before Lil Duval made it a song, right? So death is definitely one. I can testify that after my father made his transition, I had a dark night of the soul. A dark night of the soul can absolutely be a place of spiritual awakening. But as the more awakened you are, you start to recognize when you're in a dark night of the soul and not panic. When you are not as conscious of it, we have a tendency to think that something is wrong. Okay, y'all still with me? I see there's one more awakening. If you're watching and just came in, we're talking about that point of awakening, and I'm getting to the prosperity of purpose. When my daughter would graduate high school, I knew it was time to focus on myself. So that was your turning point. That was your awakening. All right. So if anybody else comes in, let them know, kind of catch them up. How many of you actually have this book, Happy Pocket Full of Money? Between last week when I mentioned it, or the week before, and even now, how many of you actually have this book? I know all my rebirth clients, my private clients. I know anybody in the business mastermind, anybody who's done any specialized workshops, you should have had it by now, any kind of specialized training. So let me keep going. I thought what he just said you're going to get out of this book is so profound enough, but let me continue. He says it is science. Quantum physics is science finally catching up with spirituality and common sense and explaining it. Think about it. When someone tells you that anything is possible, if you only believe, you're more likely to believe that when you know how step by step, scientifically, your beliefs shifts the universe and produces what you believe in. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Think about it. When someone tells you that anything is possible only if you believe, aren't you more likely to believe that when you know how, step by step, scientifically, your belief shifts the universe and produces what you believe in? Can you all testify? How many of you can be honest to say you came into your awakening skeptical? I can tell you straight up, I gave you the awakening I had in high school. I had an awakening in college. Then I had awakening after I got married. And one time I remember when a sister brought me some more information. By this time, I'm in the mosque. I'm in the Nation of Islam. I'm a captain. I'm a leader. I am literally trying to be at practice exactly, the way, right? And I remember the sister, and I don't know if she is. I'm gonna say her name. I oftentimes don't say her name, but I think she's in the group, in the tribe. She said. Her name is Sister Michelle. She brought me something metaphysical. It was from Science of Mind. Emmett Fox or one of those writers, no, Charles Fillmore. And I remember looking at the book and being so drawn to it, but the religious mindset had me thinking that I might get in trouble. Belief matters. Belief matters because even if you don't think you're going to get in trouble with no officials in the mosque, the church, or whatever, if you believe in a hell and damnation God, your belief in terms of the science of quantum physics is only going to go so far. So let me continue. I'm only picking a couple of quotes out of 2 pages. I'm still in quantum physics, the foundation. One of the benefits of understanding the very basics of quantum physics, and the basics is all you need to understand. I'm going to say that again. I didn't write it. The basics, he said, is all you need to understand. This seeing, excuse me, let me go back. The very basics of quantum physics is that you can finally see clearly how powerful concepts like faith and right thinking works, how faith and your mindset works. This seeing, understanding, this knowing enables you to have full confidence, eliminating doubt, and create your reality consciously, powerfully, and beautifully. In many ways become more powerful. Everything that I have had to study, share, teach, invite people to, I didn't always start out in the faith, the strength of my faith. My belief came over time. So when we're talking about your purpose, if this can happen for creating a parking space, if this can happen when you need to manifest tuition for your children, what about when it's time for you to play a bigger game in your purpose? I asked how everybody was doing today because how you feel about will override what you think about. And if you're plugged into everything that's making you feel some kind of way, it can take you further and further away from purpose. And what I said in the description is most people who are dissatisfied and afraid were already dissatisfied and afraid in this season. If you were not walking in your purpose, if you weren't poking at it with your attention or with some leaps of faith, if you had not made any investments in the business that you say you want to launch, if you have not made any investments in to be mentored out of the mindset, the way of being, or the implementation of a bigger plan, because oftentimes spiritual people, no matter whether you come from a Hotep community, a Christian community, no matter whether you come from these goddess circles, if you get to the point of arrogance to think I can DIY everything, I'm probably not your teacher, because I came through a system and a protocol of being able to learn from elders, from people who were my peers, but they had other initiations and understanding of things. I came through spiritual systems, and even my own community, there was a code and a protocol. And so I never walk alone. And really none of us do, but the belief that we do makes us take on everything. And that is why when we have our antenna, and I do mean our spiritual antenna, plugged in to everything that's telling us how to feel, no matter what you believe. The word says, I believe, help my unbelief. Why do you think the word says, I believe, help my unbelief? And that also, and when I say the word, I'm talking about Bible. For those of you who are not Bible centered or oriented, don't worry. There's verses in the Quran that you may be able to relate to. The first thing that the Quran says that made me awaken to even take a look at Islam during that season in my life is I remember someone trying to push and force down my throat what a good Muslim woman was supposed to look like and be like. And I had not even become Muslim. I was just studying. And they came to me and told me about wearing lipstick. I mean, it was serious, almost like being stalked. I had a sister in this community's husband was my brother on campus and looked out for me. And that's how we started. I digress in that, but I'm just telling you that I have been in these different places because some of us are travelers and we learn sometimes through the journeys that we have traveled, not just an institution. People who have institutionalized knowledge also have institutionalized thinking. And so when this person came to me, I remember feeling that feeling of somebody trying to force me. And I I saw this sister in the student union, and she was so beautiful in her garment, and I was attracted to that beauty. Perhaps it is the Oshun in me. It is the Aphrodite, the part of me that loves beauty, but definitely in the Libra rising that I have, I'm drawn to beautiful things and art. And she made her Islam look beautiful. These other women looked horrible. Just tell you, be honest. I won't even get into what they wore. And she said, "Sis, do you have a Quran by chance?" And I happened to have one. And she said, "Go to the first chapter." And the first chapter of the Quran said, "There is no compulsion in Islam." So anything, any person, any zealous groups, anybody out there representing that, not only should it not be represented in religion, it should not be represented in government. And so that's what made me more curious. So I'll continue. Quantum physics, he says, asks the question, what are the subatomic particles and how do they act? Well, the subatomic particles are energy packets, sometimes called quanta. Quanta is you. Everything in this universe is made up of energy. These energy packets behave in the most amazing way. They are at our command. I'm going to pause here. Whose command are you under? Right now, in this season, whose command are you under? So when we talk about the prosperity of purpose and belief and the yellow brick road and knowing that there is quanta can be measured. Nobody's measuring most of the time more than you about your life, your relationships, the quality of your relationships, which is where oftentimes sensuality, intimacy, and this season is touching every corner of our life, particularly our livelihood. So many of us, how many of us just have a job because we need a check? So now that the way that you get the check is the only way that you've known how to get the check, is it your purpose? Now, what happens for the person who doesn't know their purpose and they have awakened is a real opportunity to discover, to redefine, to rebirth. But what happens to the person who know they have a purpose and they are still playing small because of fear, because of how you feel versus what are facts, because you never tried, you've never stepped out there, you've never been coached, you've never been mentored, you don't have a reference point in your family to create what you can feel in you, is the quanta that deserves to live a certain way, express a certain way, and be a certain way. So I ask you how you're doing, because if you know you have a purpose, tapping into the field, the quantum field, is the only way that we are going to manifest beyond who is telling you how to feel about this next season. Here, what did I just say? That somebody put it in your own language. What you heard me say. Dana said, how you feel about will override what you think about. Yes, when you are feeling, if this is real game, this is juicy game. This is juicy game, because juicy it starts with your ability to feel good, and if your feel good centers are under attack, meaning your mind is under attack. People are losing people. So there's a spirit of grief that hasn't even been fully processed on the planet, because grief has stages. And so from the shock of losing someone to the now you can't even get to see your person when you know they may be dying, or you can't properly send them away. There's not closure. So yes, feelings are at an all-time high, not to mention the science of this quanta, that the earth's grids is shifting and changing. And now when the earth's grid shifts and changes, or the stars shift and change, we shift and change. I was telling someone, there's a lot of sisters in our community who are moving, relocating, who are shifting jobs, are making some major decisions. When you move from one place to another, you're moving from one mindset to another, into another mindset. And if you haven't fully done your work, you either become, that's why they say when in Rome, do as the Romans. That is the level of compliance and the level of the matrix that we are plugged into. I would recommend that while reading this book, that you go back and listen to the first 30 minutes of the matrix, and then the last, I'd say 15 minutes, to hear the wisdom that's being taught. Because the first thing that Morpheus gave everybody, the word says, how can they have a teacher unless he be sent? So whoever the Neo is neophyte. We're talking about a neophyte journey first. We're not even talking about the adept journey, because the adepts are the ones that have been teaching and practicing, and the adepts are the ones who are sharing this and taking risks, and they've been doing it there before their time. The adepts are the one that's been in the mystery school teaching. But the neophyte, and the danger of being on the neophyte journey, is thinking that you're an adept when you are a neophyte. And sometimes it's also when you are an adept and called to be an adept, but you keep on playing the game like you're a neophyte. And that sets you up for a level of insanity that looks like depression, anxiety, and eventually lack. Because you don't believe fully in your yellow brick road. There was something in Dorothy that didn't, in her dream, she was willing to travel in. And oh God, I could get in. Oh boy, I could get into this, boy. How many of you know we probably need to be doing Rebirth Sunday again? I've been hearing that. I've been hearing Rebirth Sunday, but I don't want to do Rebirth Sunday just to be another talking head. I want to build community that takes these principles and can apply them in your life, because you want to study, because you want resource, you want to be supported, you want to tribe up and share the word and the epiphanies that is coming directly to you, because some of you receive messages through dreams, are in this space of knowing that something is not quite right, but you don't want to upset the apple cart. And I mean, I could go on and on, because everything is right now being shifted in this old paradigm. So you can either shift with the paradigm or influence the shift, and not just be influenced by the shift. So when we talk about the prosperity of purpose, he asked the question, do you now start to see the link between wealth and quantum physics? Up until this point, you may have been designing your world haphazardly and unconsciously. Now you will awaken and do it deliberately, consciously, with direction. I had an opportunity to attend a webinar by the esteemed Dr. Jewel Pookrum, who preceded many of these holistic gurus on Instagram and that type of thing, who really is a mother of a movement of wellness and health. One of the things she was talking about is she was speaking with such authority about our immune system and how it was designed for a time and a season such as this. But what she was talking about is that humans do not even trust their immune system because certain people are saying whatever. And it was like, wow. And the thought, it wasn't even, I'm not even trying to get into what she said, because if you want it, it's out there for you to find it or to ask for it. But honey, it was the authority that she was talking about, the quantum field of health, the quantum field of mindset. That, and one of the key things even she said in that webinar was, you must now consider your purpose, because this is how you are going to truly prosper in the middle of chaos. Listen, chaos does not always mean that something is wrong. Chaos can look like chaos while a new paradigm is, revelation is taking place. Old paradigms are being destroyed and coming down. So it has to look like chaos. It has to look like, even vibrationally, who really wants to be on the planet? Because we are not even conditioned and taught to process death as a purpose. We are looking at death as something that was not supposed to happen, but everybody has a destiny and everybody has a contract and agreement of how they want to play. And so even in your purpose, are you living in the purpose that you were assigned, is the question that all of us, whether we are neophyte, because if we study the first edition of the Matrix, Neo was a neophyte. He was a disbeliever. He wanted to turn around. He was unplugged, and then he had to choose. And then Neo had to accept his purpose. And check this out. When he went to the oracle knew. Sometimes I can see the purpose and the gifts that are on you, but if I told you, you would run away anyway. So Neo, the oracle, told Neo what he could handle, not what was true. There are people sometimes who have truth, but they cannot tell you what you cannot handle. And I'm telling you, there's truth in business, there's truth in money, there's truth in this government and we have rights and resources, but many of us are relying on the same old way. Come on now, y'all talking back to me. Hello, somebody. So what did you hear? What did you feel? Anybody who wants to join, the link is somewhere in the comments, about what we discussed on how you're doing, how your family is doing. How many of you who haven't seen your family? So how many of you who are having to make new career choices? How many of you who are having to homeschool, who become an educator? Stop whining and wait. It's my dog. So when we can't even talk about the fullness of prosperity if you are still afraid of your purpose. You really don't know it. So this is the season, like that the time that we had in quarantine is when the first time in a lifetime of many people that they ever were able to stop the grind. When a woman is on the grind, let's look at the word grinding. You are grinding a part of your ovaries, the energy of being a woman, your breast that needs to be nurtured, your spirit. There's a certain energy where the feminine needs to be able to rest in, the ability to receive. But if you've been programmed by the culture of busyness, and by the culture of surviving, and survival can still look like these new millionaires who I coach, who have secured the bag, but their life is in absolute breakdown. If you're judging on Instagram and thinking that people who are just counting money or taking trips or taking photo shoots are necessarily in their purpose, you are don't judge yourself so harsh, and you won't have to judge other people as harsh. And I know this is a season of a lot of judgmental things that's putting peer pressure on many, but I assure you there is prosperity in your purpose, and understanding this quantum physics is important. The affirmation that I leave you with is, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy. He says to you, think of a motion picture. When you watch a movie, you see a person walk across the screen smoothly, yet in reality, it is just a series of 24 slightly different frames passing before you each second, so your eyes do not detect the gap between the frames. And each of those frames is a composition of billions of light photons flashing at a speed of light. He says that is what your world is, a rapid flash that causes an illusion of being solid and continuous. He says once you understand that your world is really what your world really truly is, you start to understand its true behavior and nature, and then you can change your view of it. And with your changed perception, you can change your creation of it. So when we talk about being a reality creator, you are creating the reality that you want by talking about what you creating the reality that you want by joining in the fear-based conversations. And it is our codependency on being accepted by the groups that we were meant to grow up and grow away from. Many of us are being manipulated and controlled by the old age of parents who are watching CNN 24/7, and you are the one called to be the light in your family. What is your purpose? And your purpose doesn't mean you have to quit your job. It doesn't mean that you have to jump into but there are some people who are called to do that. But your purpose is going to show up with you wherever you are. I got on people's nerves that I was teaching and ministering so much, and I was spilling purpose all over places until I got wisdom to understand, baby, go to the people who are called to you, who don't go trying to save anybody. And this is a season more than ever where this is a season where we must save ourselves. So why did I lay the foundation of quantum physics in the prosperity of purpose? Because if we start talking about the metaphysics of money, most of you all will hear it just like you would at a good word at church. Clap, shout, you want to dance, you want to say yes, amen. Or many of you who are awakened, you will say, I already know that. And that arrogance, I have found that arrogance is creating also a struggle and a strain that the willingness to learn and to leap takes you out of and interrupts. So with that being said, I want to join you next week. Get the book, Happy Pocket Full of Money. Come back to the video after you read something, challenge something, put something, share your aha right here in this thread. The thread will be available in Rebirth Woman for for a week, I'd say. And then the replay will only be available in the Rebirth exclusive. The link is there. We're going to have an altar call in September, and I'm going to do some, there's already some extras in the altar call tier 1 level. If you want to do this work, we have Sacred Juice, which is a self-study for you to break down principles each month and attach them to your vision and your goal. And you can do that at your own pace. If you can't afford coaching, it's a great way to get started. There's plenty of women in this group who are graduates of my top tier program who did not have the money, but had the desire. They had the commitment that something had to change in their life. And if they had to start at $99, work the $99 till they got the principles to manifest the $300. And then when they did the $300, they got the principle to manifest the next level of investment. It starts to show up in your life that way. But many of us don't want to spit or get off the spot. We want to just be spoon fed, and nobody's spoon feeding you right now. Not real liberation, not real truth. If you're wise, you're not out here in the streets talking about everything and announcing everything anyway. Work in silence sometimes and let the success speak for your purpose. I love you all. There's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for allowing me to share these few minutes with you. And you want to connect with the Shift Everything 21 Day. I'm getting ready to do a live, a guided process. All of the material in Shift Everything you totally can do on your own, but I want to create a space for those. If you're interested in the 21 day process with me live, I want you to put 21 in the comments. I'm going to guide the process because this is a process. I won't go into it now, but if you're interested, just put 21. It's coming up. I have some dates that are coming up as well that have been shifted a little bit due to this season. So while I'm able to continue to do video and that type of thing, we're going to do it. Okay. All right. You said, get the likes up, get the likes up. Yeah. Get the likes up. If I were teaching just for likes, and then I probably would have stopped a long time ago. I understand I'm a boutique rare service who appeal to a lot of people who are uniquely called and qualified for the season and time in your life to rebirth and emerge, transform. This is a rebirth season if I've ever seen one. And I'm so grateful every day I wake up to be able to say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you. I am in me, as me, and through me. I'm here today. I must be purpose. Every day that I can pay my bills based off of purpose. There's time I didn't know that I could. Every day that I'm able to play the next level of a game that I didn't know I have to bootstrap. Many of us believe in bootstrapping. Come on now. So share this with someone. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for connecting here.